What is happening is, they give you the cushion part of the increase, but the rough part is yet to come. And I am saying, Corky, I am trying to understand our country. I am trying to understand what is wrong with us in this country, because when we look at what is going on, when we look at the inflation, we look at food prices, we look at cost of living, we look at what is happening, property tax right around the corner coming. And today in this country, it seems as though is either the people have become docile,
I don't know.
or I don't know. I
Well,
really
I'm
don't
not
know.
driving again, I'm not driving again. The car pack up since that. I'm not driving because
Koki, I trying to understand
Yes,
what would
boy.
it take for the people in this country to stand.
I don't
I don't know what is going on. I don't know if it's some. Well, I cannot say it's something from above, but what I know for sure is something beneath, because the people in this country, it appear as though that the people in this country, like, they lose every sense of thinking, every
Crime
sense
going
of
up too.
direction. Koki,
Yesterday
we
I
are
heard
in
had a
a
big shootout
serious
on
state.
Enterprise Street, a big shootout on Enterprise
Koki,
Street.
we are in not only a dangerous place in the society,
Yes,
we
boy.
are at the point of virtually no return. A matter of fact, it is only a matter of time before crime become the new,
Yes.
before crime come the new state of the art type of employment. A matter of fact, leaders in crime, they are recruiting, and they are recruiting, and they are providing for those who they recruit, and those who they recruit have a job to do. And this, it seems as though this is no concern to the government. It seems as though, well, as idiotic Hines really state, that his job is not to protect. It seems as though, Corky, that this country
Yeah.
very soon will be totally out of control. And I heard this next idiot that we have for acting commissioner state that people need to protect themselves, and people need to pay more attention to the surroundings and all that kind of. So then very soon we may not have need for the police service. We will have to protect ourselves. We will have to take the necessary measure. We will have to buy more steel, and we will have to make more burglar proof. A matter of fact, it seems as though that very soon we might have to make what no clue. The government continue to politic in every aspect, using every type of idiotic disposition, whether it be by press conference or whether it be by Balize Juice meeting. Rowley continue to perform, continue to use his high level of arrogance, and his disposition continue to deteriorate. And to the end of the day, the people in this country, that it seems as though that they are just comfortable with the behavior of the Prime Minister, with the behavior of the Minister of National Security. A matter of fact, it seems as though that they are quite comfortable with the behavior of this government, because you cannot tell me we have seen a type of governance in this country which we have never experienced within the Caribbean. And yet, to the end of the day, the citizens who have the constitutional power to stand and to demand and to advocate change by way of their action, we are seeing today that the people of this country, they are, if I should say, they are in a comfortable position with what is going on. It seems as though the rhetoric or the idiotic talk, for a better word, comes out the mouth of the prime minister and those that support him, it seems that it seems as though that has now placed food on the table.
Yeah.
It seems because remember, Koki, this prime minister have narrowed down, closed down, shut down, break down the employment sector in this country. And last night on my live, I make it quite clear that I'm so disappointed with the trade union movement in this country. It seems as though
Yes.
that some of them have their tails between their legs, and some of them have now become bobtail leaders, and they will go somewhere and make a set of idiotic noise themselves. I hear Abdullah a while ago on the news talking about part of the cushioning, part of the blow and all that. But to the end of the day, what I'm saying, brother, is that these people have not taken any meaningful step to bring about awareness in the country. They have not taken any step to speak out and to take the necessary action against this government. We have seen the trade union movement in 2013-14 display a level and I want to put this in a context. They have displayed a level of camaraderie. They fought a battle, even though the battle was fought on lies and documents that was fabricated. They fought a battle based on the information that they had. Whether because Koki, on this station, we have a lot of information that we doesn't bring to the public domain until we can verify that those information, that it is authentic information. All right. But they fought their battle, and that battle that they fought, it was much less than what we are experiencing now. And even though I would have think that this country were waiting patiently for the lifting of the restrictions in order to come out and demonstrate their dissatisfaction, because remember, Koki, under the pandemic, I was saying to this country to shut down your constituency. You don't have to come out, you don't have to gather, shut it down.
Yeah.
All right. To the end of the day, that fell on deaf ear. And I would have thought that this country were patiently waiting for the lifting of the restrictions for them to demonstrate their dissatisfaction. But it seems as though that everything is very, very well and fine with the citizens of this country.
Yeah.
It seems so. It seems that the food price, the cost of living is not a problem. It seems as though the increase in fuel is not a problem. It seems as though the 3,700 plus deaths that we had under this mismanagement and the incompetent Minister of Health, it seems that is already forgotten. It seems as though the 4 men who lose their life at Paria, it seems as that too is water under the bridge. It seems as though the Chinese Gate, where the houses in Tobago, where it's alleged the Prime Minister and his wife and the Speaker and her husband and the Prime Minister daughter, it seems as though all that is water under the bridge. It seems as though the dismantling by misbehavior in public office by the President, the Prime Minister, Bliss Sipasan, and others in relation to the Police Service Commission, it seems as though that too is water under the bridge. And this and Koki, the list go on, the list goes on. But it seems as though that all these things is water under the bridge. Nobody concerned, nobody making a move, nobody saying nothing, nobody standing up against the ills, nobody standing up for the future of this country except for a selective few. And I am saying that I really know what's wrong with the people in this country, so to speak. I don't know what is wrong with you people. Because in other countries, I am telling you, Kokidi, in other countries,
Yes.
what we are experiencing here for governance, in other countries, this country would have already come to a standstill. This country would have already had fresh elections in other countries.
Yes.
But it seems as though, I don't know if, I know some of the slaves that they wanted to get rid of.
Yes.
I know for sure that some of them went down to Jamaica.
Okay.
One of my friends tell me some of them went to Tobago. But I really trying to understand who they sent to Trinidad, yes? I really trying to understand who they sent to Trinidad, because I am telling you, Corky, we have reached a place with a set of fortitude less individuals. These people have no stamina, no backbone. They have no fortitude. They stand up for nothing. They bend over and take everything that this government have to give them. They bend over, they bend backward, they bend forward, and they just receive it with a smile on the face. A smile on the face, Corky. That is where we are today in this country. And this is so sad, because I am really wondering what would become of the young people in this country. But nevertheless, as I said before, we hearing people making noise, but the noise that they're making is deafening. Corky, you can understand that? You can unfold that? We hearing people making noise, but the noise that they're making is deafening. So what I'm saying, in other words, the noise and no noise that they're making is the same thing. No noise is the same thing. What would it take for you people to stand up? Corky, we opening the phone lines because we're crossing over at 7 o'clock today. My question to you, the listening public, is what would it take for you to stand up? 218-7762. That's the number to call.
Yeah.
Corky, my coffee getting cold, boy.
Yeah, that's 218-7762. Call us live.
And the question is, what would it take from this government
Yeah.
for you people to stand up? That is the question here this evening.
What would it take?
That is the question. That is what I'm entertaining today. What would it take for you, the people of this country, to stand against what is happening? Because you cannot tell me that where we are in this society today, that you people are in a comfortable position. You cannot tell me that.
All right.
Welcome, caller.
Hello, good night. Good night.
Yes, what would it take?
Yeah, Mr. Victor Roberts.
Yes.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Roberts.
Good evening.
Good evening. You're doing a good job, right?
Buttons up.
Huh?
Hello, welcome.
Yeah, you hear me, Roberts? Hello?
Caller, you probably had to try again.
No, go ahead. We're hearing you. We're hearing you. He's not hearing you yet, but go ahead.
You hear me, Corky?
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Boy, you're doing a big job, right? But you see the people in this country, you could preach how much you want. They might coming out. They might have belly, boy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, caller.
They have belly. It's a race. If you cut my brother, it's a race. They don't care when they get salty, they go eat it. You understand? They have belly to come out, boy. The only thing to call an election is to shut this country down, and they have belly for that, boy. People that depend in this country, and people like you and somebody else to stand up for them. You understand? They will call the show and they will complain, but for action, they have belly for that. You understand? I admire the work you do.
Thank you, caller.
Okay.
Thank you very much, caller.
Next call. Hello.
Welcome, caller. What would it take?
Cocky D.
Yes, sir.
Eating to you, sir. Yes, Cocky, what it take it's for the opposition to stand up, and people will come out.
All right.
Yes, that's how we used to do it in long time days in 2007 and 2005 in tribunals. The opposition need to come out.
All right.
And I am coming up with full force with everybody. Maxi is going to full up now.
Right.
Take care.
So caller,
Right.
hold on, don't go yet.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Right. So you are saying that the opposition need to take the
That's
streets.
right. That's right. You is doing your part, but how much you could do,
Mm-hmm.
right? The pushback movement, I have been there and almost get them locked up.
Mm-hmm.
In full force. What is going on here? We talking, people talking X, Y, and Z. Okay, we ready.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your
Take care,
comment.
sir.
Thank you for your comment, caller. What would it take? Let me take
What
this
would it
call.
take? What?
Welcome, caller.
Hello.
Mr. Victor Robert
Yes, sir. How are you?
and to Corky
Yes, sir. Good evening.
and to the Jeffrey, wherever you are, sir, wonderful honesty. You see, the thing in this country, the people have to unite full. Every creed and race must come together. And if we cannot do that, we could never save ourselves. Because us has a part to play. You see, the problem is they put on the 19th, gas going to go up. If we the people don't stand up, we just have to swallow that tablet. And if we stand up, they go push back. As long as we stand up, they have to push back. And you see, gas running the air, sea, and land. You know, people have come and say, why the business people don't close down? If it wasn't for the business people, poor man cannot survive. And for poor man to survive in this country, we are the people that make this country run. The grassroots who driving truck, taxi, whatever, working stores. If we shut down, the country would shut down. But for our businessman to shut down, it would never work. And we have to understand that gas going up, every single thing going up, from pampers, for food for babies, food for elderly, food for everybody going up. When is resurrection day again?
Yeah. So when is election?
When is
Resurrection day is Sunday.
Resurrection Day ought to be here?
Well, a lot of women have to go for that too. Have a blessed and wonderful day, sir.
Thank you.
Wow.
What would it take for the country to stand up? What? Welcome, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Good day, sir.
But and Kofi.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to say something. I hope you would hear what I'm saying. I used to be one of those voters that always looked for that third party. Up to 2007, when we had that election there, around there, I voted for the COP, and it cost Mr. Pandey the election. Kokibi, I even at times I get angry with camera coming out. Why should not come? Listen to me. These are the facts. Those people who are accustomed voting for the PNM, no matter what the PNM do, they're going to stay in the finger for the PNM. And the UNC people are going to vote for the UNC. The people that make the difference in any election are the ones who sit on their behind and just look on. And these are the people, when they do not vote, what they effectively do is leave us with the PNM. You hear what I'm saying? I was guilty of that. Looking for that third party. And I have seen that these third parties only have mouth. They only have mouth. douglAR is the perfect example of that. He had the opportunity to make the difference. He couldn't himself hold on a finance ministry. Amla had to move in. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes, caller.
This about 30-something% of the people who sit on the behind and say that UNC and PNM is the county, hell are they the same? Just see the difference that when the UNC is in power, how this country progress?
Yeah.
You telling me you're so blind to that? Huh? The people who vote for the PNM will, no matter who get them to them, they're going to vote for them anyhow. Because when somebody gave the definition of stupid the other day,
Yeah.
seeing what is wrong, hearing what is wrong, feeling what is wrong, but still believing in the lie. So they're not going to change. It is those people, those self-righteous people that have this country where it is today.
Yeah.
Because they know there is a vast difference. Because this country has never seen development as it has seen under when a UNC is in power.
Correct.
That is a fact. That is for everybody to see. How is the PNM and UNC the same? And until those people get up and make that difference, come out and make that difference, this country will continue to be ruled by that PNM that don't know if they're coming or they're going.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, caller.
Next caller.
What would it take? What would it take? Remember, we'll be crossing over at 7 to the Monday Night Forum. We open the lines to you, 218-7762, and the lines are open, and you could tell us what would it take. Welcome, caller.
Yes, you say what it will take for the people in the country to get up,
To
right?
stand, yes, Fox. Go
All
ahead,
right.
shoot,
You know what
shoot.
it will take? It will take Rowley take it away wife, and then we gonna get up against him. It's the only way people will get up in this country, and Rowley take away all our wives.
He had to eat the honey. He had to drink the honey, eat the goat and smoke the weed.
Yes, you know why I say that? Everybody know what is the problem. Nobody is coming out with the solution. What I say, right? What I say, I want Kamala them not to come out. I don't want Kamala them to come out. I want us to get up and fight them politically. Parliament. Kamala them gonna be in Parliament fighting for we, and we gonna be outside fighting too. That is the way to get Rowley out. We want a day when you have Parliament, Robbie. That the people will come out on the street the day you have Parliament. So Kamala them inside fighting, and we outside fighting. We don't want Kamala on the street. We barely too weak. What do we want Kamala on the street for? Save Kamala for the rainy day. We want you for the rainy day. She will be our guidance after. Too much of people want power in this country that have this country like this right now. Everybody want to be a political leader. Everybody want to go in the cookie jar. And that is our main Trinidad. They are not fighting against Rowley, they're fighting against one another.
So Fox.
Because of power.
Fox.
What a man will do to save his soul and to gain the world for power. Thank you.
Fox, listen to this. Listen to this, Fox. I want you to prepare your walking shoe. Because you see everybody who ready, Fox.
Yeah.
I am going to start a walk from Sando to Tongue, and let me see who ready.
But just give me 2 days notice that I could fix myself here, because I will matter buy my ticket to come down.
Right.
Right? And I come in and I'm walking shoe already.
So you go hear from me soon.
Even though the Fox had to go barefoot because it's a kung fu man.
Right. You go hear from me soon. Let me see all who ready. Let me see all the callers and the talkers and all who ready. Let me see, because you know me afraid to walk alone, Fox. You know that.
And next thing I wanted to tell you, Robbie. Let us come together. The people calling in, donate something, and let me print some papers, stated what we want and when we want it, right? And give it out to the different constituencies and villages. And so they're gonna know we coming out on a certain date, deal with Rowley in Port of Spain, once and for all. Right? But we want it on a day that he have Parliament, that Kamala and them must be in Parliament. Why is we outside doing we thing, Kamala them in Parliament? You know somebody got called to criticize why saying you know?
Nah, don't study them. We have time with them. So Fox, thanks for your call, because we had a crossover at 7. And I go lace with you.
Ready to do that.
I go lace with you. Yeah, Corky, we go do something. They're playing everybody. Welcome, caller. We will see all who see us
Hello,
in
good
this
morning.
country. Yes, sir. Good day.
How are you? Good evening.
Fine, fine,
And
fine,
to the
fine.
listening audience. Very quickly, I know you need to cross over. I remember many years ago when Venezuela, our neighbors, had raised their gas price by 2 cents.
Of course, I remember.
Venezuela riot.
Exactly.
Within
And they had to
recent
retract
times,
it. They had to retract it also.
definitely. Within recent times, France increased. So I was expecting this morning everybody cut off the engine on the highway, park their vehicles, and walk to where they were going to send a clear message. We had Canada, the mighty and democratic Canada, where the truckers stood up and Mr. Justin Trudeau had to back down for his decision. We are international copycats. And we went all to America, Black Lives Matter, and we protested all here. But apparently Trinidadians and Tobagonians' lives ain't matter
No
enough
matter.
for the protest.
Well said.
Right.
Well said.
So I want to give somebody else a chance because I look forward to the 7 o'clock hour. You are right and keep up the good job.
Yes, sir. Well said, caller. Well said. Well said. Welcome, welcome, caller.
Good afternoon. Get
Yes.
through finally.
Yes, sir.
The caller that's called, love his speech. Love it.
Yeah.
You know, he makes sense. But let me tell you something. If we in Trinidad and Tobago stop thinking race, we'll be a better country. Yes, we
Well,
need to stop doing that because, like the guy said earlier on, there are PNM people who diehard PNM. They don't care if they eat brick. They're eating it.
Yeah.
And they're putting their hand by the body thing.
Yeah.
Understand? I'm going to say, Ms. Kamala Bissar is a great leader, great leader. But her cabinet members fail her, bad. You know, she you know, in every home, a mother is a leader.
Of course.
When your mother passed away, that is in the home, you don't go on through. You put a man like Rowley there who don't even, he can't even speak properly. Understand? He can't run this country, to the dogs. But you know what? This is my contribution. Ready to work, let me know. I come into work.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your support. Welcome, caller.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good day, sir.
Mr. Robert,
Yes, sir.
let me see if I could help you to explain why people are so quiet and they will not take the kinds of action that you are advocating.
All right.
You, like many other people, would have seen or heard about a Facebook page, a Facebook comment yesterday, where a woman said very clearly for everybody to understand that she will prefer to eat Rowley's than vote for them. Now, how on earth you could get, and she's not singular in that regard, she has endless people who feel the same way. How could you change a thinking like that to get people to do what you're trying to get them to do? The thing about it, Mr. Robert, the country has no hope right now about bringing about change in the way that you trying to bring about change. There will not be any kind of uprising, that kind of thinking. But more than that, it helps me to better understand now when Trump referred to this country as a shithole country.
Yeah. There was vex, eh? There was vex about that.
But what he said, and given that recent Facebook post, the thing became very clear. There is little hope with that kind of thinking, Mr. Robert, to change people's, because I mean they sold themselves a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now, what is important is that the hierarchy of the PNM understands that.
They know that.
They know that. So that they don't care about people coming onto radio and talking about this, that, and the other uprising and march with this and that. They know that ain't happening. You know? So, I mean, we are in a very sad state, very sad state. There's nothing like pitch, yeah?
Yeah.
Um, so that, how you could begin to change that kind of thinking? I mean, I'd be happy if you could tell me how we could change that kind of thinking. Have a good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you, caller. And we take this one. Welcome, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Robert.
Good
How are
day.
you?
Good day.
Good. You know, I always feel like there should be an uprising of people, a big march, not violent, but where everybody participates, where it's adults. You can't bring children to a march like this. But because we're going to, you're demanding change. You're demanding the stopping of corruption. You're demanding that they stop stealing, and you demand transparency. Those are very basic things we want to demand. And people who are not going to participate or who don't want to speak out, because if you speak out, right, you're still participating. People are hearing your message. But most people, you know, it's because, I don't know if it's a fear, because we have been so instilled with this fear that if you go out there, somebody could follow you and shoot you and kill you. The news reports like, you know, people are randomly killed every day. And we always say, why? Why are these people randomly killed? And the news wouldn't give you a backstory. So it's like they put this cloud of confusion where you kind of feel lost. And I'll tell you I'll make it real quick, eh? You see those results on the SBA exam where the two children, the Indian girl and the other girl, the young person, they put another kid who was not Indian, Afro, and they made a big deal about race and who's smarter and who. The truth of the matter is, Mr. Victor, this is what they're doing to our children. They're dividing us because those exams are very biased.
Okay, caller. Thanks.
Too long,
thanks.
Right?
No, not that. I had to cut you because we're going to crossover immediately. But I'll be back here tomorrow at 6:15. And of course, feel free to call and we'll continue this topic. All right?
Very polite. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're crossing over to the Monday Night Forum now. Thanks for all those who've called, and we will stay in touch. Be safe. God bless. We out of here.
Always work together with humility and respect for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of our country. Amen. From the political capital, this is the United National Congress Virtual Report 2022.
Good evening to my UNC family, political leader of the United National Congress, members of Parliament, members in the Senate Party, officials, supporters, friends all, welcome and good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our UNC virtual report. My name is Councillor Kenwin Phillip. I represent the electoral district of Manzalina Fishing Pond, and I am proud to be here on this virtual platform. This evening, Ms. Shaniqua Piper will be co-chairing this evening's proceeding with me. Before we go further, I would like to wish on behalf of the party, Mr. William Archie a happy birthday today. Mr. William is a hard-working social media activist. Our first speaker is a fearless champion of the people. He is a well-known businessman and long-time UNC warrior. In the Senate, he is a powerful advocate for the citizen, and he continued to fearlessly stand up for your rights. Please welcome to the virtual platform, Senator Damian Lyda.
People crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom. Want freedom. Everybody crying out for democracy. Now it's time to take a stand. Yeah. Come on! As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters, let's all walk together as one. This revolution is about restoring our democracy. And this revolution is about stopping this creeping dictatorship. This is the people's revolution. Come on, people. Come on, people.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To our honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, to my fellow speakers here tonight, and to the few who have come out here continuing to practice social distancing and safety from the COVID pandemic, and to all of those who are listening online on Facebook, on YouTube, I say to all of our UNC family, good night at not such a good time. You see, brothers and sisters, we come here tonight after last week seeing this government betray the citizens of this nation once more, not once but twice. And they didn't only betray the 309,000 that voted for the UNC. They didn't betray the thousands that stayed home and didn't vote. But they betrayed the 327,000 PNM who went out and made a mistake in staining their fingers for this callous government. Brothers and sisters, all it took them to do to win that last election was to blame Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, talk about their success in COVID. Raul, you come out with a pretty shirt like this. One of this pretty shirt. One of them pretty shirt. And all them nice songs and jingles that he bring to you. Well, let's deal with some of them jingles that they bring for you tonight. Eh? The first one, if I remember correctly. We love you so we take good care of you. Only the PNM have a plan. What was the plan of the PNM? The plan of the PNM was to suffer the people of this country, to betray the citizens of our nation, and to fill the pockets and enrich the friends, families, and financiers of this government. When we saw last week the betrayal on Friday when Randall Mitchell came to the parliament and told this nation that through Carnival there was a revenue of $2.77 million brought in revenue. Not profit, you know, in revenue. Now let me break it down to everyone here tonight. At the beginning, I came to them in the Senate, and I questioned the minister on January the 11th this year as to whether or not there will be Carnival, or whether or not the then Attorney General, talking about this mother of Carnival, will actually happen, and whether they have consultation with stakeholders. Well, we saw it was a mother of Mamagai, and the minister came and he said he consulted. He said he consulted. However, we later saw that Carnival stakeholders rubbished this government's approach, meaning that they consulted with the stakeholders, and in true PNM style, they didn't listen to them, they ignored them, and they did whatever the hell they wanted to do. Brothers and sisters, with regard to staging the Carnival, I remember the Minister of Tourism, Randall Mitchell, he said, and I say for the record, arising from the COVID-19 pandemic, and in particular the arrival of the new variant, and the current elevated levels of infection and hospitalization, no firm decision has yet been taken regarding the hosting of Carnival-type activities in 2022. This, brothers and sisters, was on January the 11th, a mere 7 weeks before this tasteless Carnival. And when we asked the minister who's responsible about the budget, he said no budget was identified. And then we saw, a few weeks later on January the 31st, Winston Gypsy Peters and the National Carnival Commission come and tell this nation that there was $30 million of your taxpayers' money being put towards this Carnival. And then came the flip-flop. 2 days later, Randall Mitchell scampering and coming to us at the beginning of February to tell us, no, it wasn't $30 million. It was only going to be $15 million allocated to the NCC and $5 million allocated to sponsored safe zone events. So I want to know, this is $20 million. I want to know how much was actually spent on Carnival. Not the revenue. You must tell us how much you spent on Carnival. And you must tell us who benefited from the $5 million. Because I have to ask myself the question, did the son of Junior Rogrello, the mayor of San Fernando, did he get any of that $5 million? Because we note that Joshua Rogrello, that the event was powered by the Ministry of Tourism. So tell us how much of the taxpayers' money was put to the son of the mayor of San Fernando. We want to know. I am asking, and I'm asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend, you know. That's all I'm doing. But you see, that reminds me of the next PNM song in the election. We are the PNM family, sign my name with a golden pen. And that is what it is, brothers and sisters. If you're a part of the PNM family, you get that golden pen to sign the checks, to sign the contracts for your friends, family, and financiers. That's what you get. So yes, true to form, you have to be PNM friend. Listen to these songs. So these are matters of concern. So this taste of Carnival started with no plan. And it ended with what is a potential corruption and nepotism in the PNM. So they must answer to the taxpayers with no accountability, no tendering processes. How did that 15 million and that 5 million and what else get spent of the taxpayers' monies? And 5 weeks before this scheduled carnival, the TNT Promoters Association called it a tasteless carnival. Now this is not the UNC telling you this, you know. This is the promoters, and this company is an apolitical entity. If the stakeholders were included, as we had asked the government, we would have seen events that would have made a meaningful profit. Not this cash-guzzling disaster that occurred, excluding everyone except friends and family and financiers of the PNM. But this Rowley PNM was so blinded when we listened to the CEO, Dean Atkin, who is a well-known mass man in this country. He had indicated that the carnival ship for 2022 had long sailed. But the PNM, as I said, was so blinded that even Gypsy couldn't adhere to his song. Captain, the carnival ship is sinking. Captain, the taste of carnival seas are rough. Not even Gypsy could have done that. So brothers and sisters, this raises another question to the government in their haste to have their friends and financiers and families whining, prancing, and whining back on bamboo in goat pens. When they were rushing to do that in the savannah, they neglected the culture workers, not just the frontline singers, you know, brothers and sisters. This includes mask makers, wire benders, costume designers, musicians, and a host of other stakeholders in this country. And despite the love that they gave to Carnival in this country over the years, making Carnival the greatest show in this earth, they were abandoned by this PNM in this Carnival. And in the end, what do we have? Taxpayers who have lost $17.2 million or more from this botched Carnival. Brothers and sisters, this money could have been used to buy medicine in the hospitals. This $17.2 million could have been used to bolster the parallel healthcare system so that many of those 3,500 and more citizens who died from COVID may have survived. This money could have been used, this $17 million could have been used to purchase electronic devices and to pay for internet for many of those 2,000 and more children that dropped out of the educational system during this pandemic. And this $17 million could have been used, brothers and sisters, to help the TTPS with resources to fight this out-of-control runaway train scourge of crime in this country. That is what it could have been used for under this minister, Ethelbert Hines. Brothers and sisters, as we are on the topic of Ethelbert Hines, this $17.2 million could have been used to buy some coffee for the sleepy minister, Ethelbert Hines. They could have buy some coffee with that, so he could have take responsibility for crime, so that he could have take responsibility for the safety and security of citizens, and not tell the nation that he was not responsible for making people feel safe and secure. so that he could stay awake at the wheel, so he didn't kill poor Marley, and that he didn't drop asleep in the middle of a press conference. That is what this money could have been used for. Give the man some coffee, man. Sleepy minister. But if they're not prepared to give Ethelbert Hines some coffee, we in the UNC will help him. I bought a pillow, a poo pillow, a Winnie the Pooh coffee mug, and a Winnie the Pooh blanket, so that the sleeping minister could get some sleep, so that he could get up and do the work of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, so that he could fight the crime in Trinidad and Tobago and stop neglecting his responsibility as the Minister of National Security. Yes, Ethelbert Hines, wake up. And you want to come, you wake up and come to Parliament and answer some questions first. Wake up and come on a press conference and not drop asleep on yourself. Brothers and sisters, after this botched opportunity, then the Minister of Finance comes with the next betrayal to this country. He comes not once, he comes not twice, not 3 times, but he betrays this nation now for a 4th time, brothers and sisters, when he comes to increase the price of fuel and remove further the fuel subsidy, pressuring the people in this nation. Let me tell this nation what this means at the pump, brothers and sisters. For fuel, for anybody with a 40-liter tank of fuel, or premium or super, you are going to pay $40 more to fill your tank. And if you have a truck, like a Hilux with diesel, you're going to pay $30 more every time to fill your tank. Every fill. So can you imagine for a moment, a taxi heading from Port of Spain to San Fernando, the increase of the fuel prices? Who is going to bear that cost? It is the citizens of this country who will bear that cost, and I'd like to recognize the arrival of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Who is going to bear that cost, brothers and sisters? It is the citizens of this nation who will bear that cost. But don't worry all yourself. Listen to the PNM song. Left foot, balize. Right foot, balize. Because get accustomed to it. Is left foot and right foot. You're going to have to walk now. Because you can't afford to take taxi. You can't afford to drive your car. You can't afford to go to work. So you and your children, when they go to school, will lose your left foot and your right foot with the balize, man. That is what you're going to do. Now, let me tell you very quickly what is going to impact this nation with this fuel price. As a businessman, let me tell you all this here today. The cost of everything is going to skyrocket. But let me talk about food, the most essential to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I am going to give you a synopsis. A distributor, whether it is imported food or whether it is locally grown food. A farmer and a fisherman needs fuel for their tractors and for their boats. What's going to happen? The cost of kingfish going up, the cost of grouper going up, the cost of cauliflower going up, and the cost of bygone going up. That is what is going to happen. And let us talk about imported food. We are already saddled with the supply chain issues in this country, with increased freight costs, and with a government who is so uncaring that they would not do like Guyana and take away some of the VAT on the food coming in. That is what they're not prepared to do. But let me break it down to you now. When a company has to distribute food to a supermarket, what happens? Sales reps and merchandisers have to drive and sell the food. Their price of fuel is going to go up. Then they're going to ask their companies for more money for fuel. Then to transport the goods to the supermarket, price of fuel going up, increased cost to the country. Then the people who come to work in the warehouse, either through taxi or through their own vehicle, the price of fuel is going to go up. They're going to ask the company to increase their salaries. And what is going to happen then? The company will increase the price of the food. Then they will take it when it goes to the supermarket. The same thing happens. The workers in the supermarket also will ask for more fuel. They will ask for more money for fuel. And so therefore, they will increase the price at the shelf. So who is going to suffer from this price increase of the fuel? It is going to be the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who are going to struggle to pay the high price of food now. But what does the government have to say about that? This is going to cause a spiraling rise in the price of our economy. And the fault lies at this government. All goods and services are going to go up. Because it is the Minister of Finance who sat down like an emperor on his chair with the IMF and said to the IMF, I raise price once, I raise price twice, I raise price a third time, and they ain't riot yet. So I might come and raise the price again. And true to his word, he has come here to raise the price again, and the country hasn't rioted yet. And so I say to you today, brothers and sisters, and then he comes to you and tells you the economy is doing well. What has he done to improve the economy? He's responsible for increasing the economy? Is he responsible for the war in Ukraine that carry up the price of fuel? Is he responsible for the COVID pandemic when he locked down this country unjustifiably? And then when he opens back up the country, do you not expect economic growth? Do you not expect when the construction sector opens back up, we will get economic growth? But the people of this country must never forget, they must never forget that the economy declined by 7.4% in 2020 and by 10% between 2015 and 2019 before the COVID. Then coming and insulting the people of this nation with increased prices of fuel. So as I close, brothers and sisters, as I said and done, this PNM government has failed in every major respect of governance. It is a fact. And if you didn't see it evident before, you see it evident now. The closure of this refinery has resulted in our citizens being pushed back with increased oil prices. The government's incompetence and corruption has resulted in $17.2 million being wasted in Carnival, gifted to friends, family, and financiers. So they try to say to my citizens, be ready whenever Keith Rowley calls that election bell, that you put him out of his political misery and vote them out of office. The PNM has become so desperate now, they once more depend on songs. What is the song they're depending on now to fool you? Now we have to hear them say, somebody touch me, somebody touch me, somebody touch my soul. So if the Prime Minister wants to now resort to biblical words, let me tell him something during this season. I want to remind the Prime Minister and the PNM of another prayer. Matthew 25, verses 31 to 46. When I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. But the PNM government has left mass joblessness and struggling to provide food for their families, and they have kicked them out of the PNM plan. And the final part of that scripture, it says, on verse 40, whatsoever you do the least of my brothers, you do unto me. My brothers and sisters, the PNM government has hurt the brothers and sisters of Trinidad and Tobago. And by their betrayal, and by extension, they have hurt God. And God does not sleep. I call on the citizens of this country, don't get God out of your thoughts in the next election. Don't be fooled by the gimmickry of songs. Riot with your finger and elect a caring government that is run by Mrs. Kamala Persad Bissessar, who will be our next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Come on, people. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
The People's Revolution.
Some of them crying out for freedom.
Want freedom.
Everybody crying out for democracy. Now it's time to take a stand, yeah.
Come on! As we move in this People's Revolution, my brothers.
Now we go into the Groski. It's gasping. Our second speaker is no stranger to the UNC, having previously served as the Member of Parliament for Caroni East and the Minister of Education in the Kamala Persad Bissessar's administration, a renowned medical practitioner for several decades. He continues to serve the national interest by sharing his expertise with us on this platform tonight. Please welcome to the UNC Virtual Report platform, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh.
The voice of the people is the voice of God. The tables are turning, your eyes are opening. Welcome to the revolution.
People crying out for justice. freedom. Want freedom. Everybody crying out for democracy. Now it's time to take.
Honorable distinguished political leader and former Prime Minister Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Senior Counsel, platform colleagues, listening and viewing audiences, members of the media, a very good evening to one and all. Tonight I seek to engage your kind attention for the next 15 minutes in extremely critical and urgent issues and the dangerous, gravely unacceptable state of our education sector and our nation's children and students' education. Rowley's government for the past 7 years have wreaked widespread destruction and created decay in our education sector in schools and even at university level as well. On Tuesday 19th, that is the following Tuesday, near 250,000 students are expected to be physically at school. Near 120,000 at primary school, 95,000 at secondary school, and 35,000 at early childhood education centers. But thousands and thousands of these students are in serious distress of being unable to attend school. Over 100,000 parents have lost their jobs, hundreds have lost their homes, children have little or no food, sometimes painfully hungry, little or no clothing, no shelter, no books, no devices, no money for school transportation, no school uniforms, and children have no hope at this moment. Yet this destructive, vicious culture and autocracy does nothing, cares nothing, and will do nothing to help these loving and unfortunate children and students. Thousands would be unable to attend school next Tuesday. This Rowley government has in 7 years deprived generations of students from their just due of a high quality, equitable, and accessible education. Prime Minister Rowley and his government have destroyed the hopes, the dreams, and aspirations of generations of students by failing to close the gap between failure and success long before COVID, the previous 5 years. Generations of students' education have been wiped out. About 34,000 students have left school within the last 2 years of this COVID pandemic, having lost their education in these 2 years, lost to the world of work, unable to gain employment, and now accessible to the many gangs that are pervasive in our society. This Rowley government has done absolutely nothing to provide a meaningful quality education during his 7 years of governance so far, of woeful mismanagement, incompetence, widespread corruption, and nepotism. He and his team have reversed all the significant gains that were made by the People's Partnership government under Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisesa between 2010 and 2015. Reversed that precipitously within 1 year. We were standing proud and confident side by side with leading education nations globally, like Singapore, South Korea, Hong Kong, Scandinavian countries like Finland. Trinidad and Tobago stood as an education colossus, a giant, and a leader in 2010 to 2015, leading in the Caribbean and Latin America and globally, leading in the system of seamless education, the Information and Communication Laptop Program created by Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and the Early Childhood Care and Education, also a watchword and created by her as well. Thousands of students would still not have a physical space in school, even when they go to school now, when they try to go to school. Social distancing cannot be implemented because of already overcrowded and dilapidated and unprepared schools. So where are these students going to? Are they going to have physical, social distancing when the schools are already overcrowded? Prime Minister Rowley, do you have a conscience? Have you deliberately, willfully, spitefully, full of pure hate and contempt and venom, not continued to complete any but one
of the 70 schools that were under construction in 2015. In 7 years, you completed 1 out of those 70 schools. Thousands of students have been crowded together in community centers, temples, mandirs, mosques as makeshift schools for 7 years. For 7 years, ask Dr. Munilal, the Ramai Trace government was 95, the Ramai Trace Hindu school was 95% complete, 5% more to go. And for 7 years, children upon children have come and they are overcrowded in the mandirs near to these schools. For 7 years. And this is occurring across the country. So they have had to go to makeshift schools. So why has Prime Minister Rowley destroyed the psyche of pursuit of excellence of children in doing so? Let me go on to speak about another few areas of destruction of this Rowley government on the education sector. In 2016, Rowley and his then woodworking and history teachers as ministers of education. They were woodworking teachers and history teachers. They were your ministers of education between 2010 and 2015. Could you understand why in 1 year everything fell down? And presently former Costa teacher, now minister, have and are now continuing the widespread destruction of our students' education. Unable to even solve a simple presidential award in SEA recently, amongst the many other simple issues they cannot deem to solve. That is the extent of the competence within, or the incompetence, the gross incompetence within the Ministry of Education. In Prime Minister Rowley's first year, he was calling the students dunsties and monsters. He and his ministers have precipitously reversed all the wide and far-reaching internationally acclaimed significant gains in our education sector of 2010 and 2015 under Prime Minister Mrs. Bisesa, Kamala Prasad Bisesa. They spitefully, wrongfully, vindictively, and maliciously destroyed the laptop program, which was a laptop for every child entering secondary school. Not one laptop has been given in 6 years under this PNM regime. They're shamelessly begging the corporate sector and the private citizens to help to provide laptops and IT devices for children. Could you understand a government begging the private sector and corporate sector to give laptops for the children? Shameful. During this pandemic, they would have saved approximately 500 million from no school feeding program for 2.5 years. 80 million saved in school transportation because they didn't have to transport any school children. And another 100 million in school security during the 2-year pandemic because the school security was not needed, 9 security officers in 1 school. Near 600 million was saved in the pandemic, but they have no shame, they have no dignity, they have no character as a government, begging publicly for help in purchasing laptops and IT devices for students. While students were suffering at home, deprived of any education via the internet, over 100,000 students were unable to access the education because of no devices or internet connectivity over a 2-year period. They allowed the 120 secondary schools' computer classrooms to be non-functional even during the first year. The IT systems in schools and Wi-Fi and internet connectivity platforms became non-functional also within the first year. The audiovisual rooms with interactive whiteboards were not maintained. There was no textbook procurement for 7 years. They didn't buy 1 textbook for a child during 7 years. Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, as Prime Minister of this country, provided over 2 million textbooks to the students. Every child in every class, in every school, receive a textbook for their subject. They destroy the primary school curriculum. They remove morals and values and ethics and citizenry development and character development, which were very much needed to build its students' psyche and let them understand what discipline is about. But you could understand why there's serious indiscipline in schools now. Because PNM is not accustomed to these type of things, so they removed it. They destroyed the continuous assessment component evaluation, which was introduced to provide improved performances of students in standards 3 and 4 to reduce the SEA stress. They stopped the parenting and education workshops, depriving thousands of parents in the training of a parent-child relationship in education. Critically important that the parents must be with their children during the education process. And we under the UNC had parenting and workshop programs for thousands of parents. We had over 100,000 parents coming together to learn how to manage their children. Chaos evolved in the school feeding program. Thousands of students were deprived of meals in schools under Rowley's watch. There was chaos also in the school transport system. They were never paid the money owed to the maxi taxi drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Student Support Services Division, which is important for getting the character of the students, understanding their problems and difficulties, they dismiss hundreds of school social workers, guidance officers, guidance counselors, and even clinical and behavioral psychologists who could be there now helping these students in their mental problems. They failed to proceed with the expanding 21st century classrooms in partnership with Samsung. We were going guns in IT, leading the world in IT. They discontinued the Virtual Education Center in Trinidad and Tobago, which was an IT leader. We were the center for virtual educa in Latin America and the Caribbean, and they closed it down. We had trained almost 1,500 ECC teachers to fill our ECC schools in degrees and in certificates. They have not trained one since then. They destroyed the GATE program and certainly introduced dirty politics, dirty and nasty politics in an invaluable human capital development program, education under the guise of cost. They stopped funding the PhD students. TechVoc education was brought to a halt in MIC and SDP National Skills Center, and also down to a minimum from 106 schools on our time to 40 schools doing TechVoc education. They reduced open and national scholarships from approximately 500 per year under Kamla Prasad Bisesa prime ministership and the PP government down to 50 per year. They introduced the subterfuge bursary program, another PNM slush fund program to assist who, you know who? PNM supporters. Something they are very familiar with, this unholy, corrupt practice. They bring dirty politics in education. Rowley and his government deliberately introduced hidden agendas in the award of scholarships, but their viciousness, nepotistic and corrupt practices are naked and transparent in the discerning eye. Meritocracy has been abandoned and thrown out of the window under the PNM. They are deliberately ignorant of the meaning and significance of that word. But ladies and gentlemen, Saturday gone, I went to a cocoa estate in Biche, saw a Zanana Mapapi wrapped in the balayage. This immediately brought visions of the deaths from their venomous sting. The poisonous venom of the PNM is being widely inflicted upon our people and causing enormous suffering. Hundreds of lives have been saved in this COVID. If hundreds of lives could have been saved in the COVID pandemic if the relevant treatment drugs were purchased of remdesivir and toxilumab. Less than $60 million could have saved 3,000 lives. The PNM's poisonous and deadly venom has been inflicted not only in health and education systems, but across many spectrums of governance. And the SEA, Minister Dolly, showed that compared 2021 to 2020, 6% more students scored less than 30%. 1 out of every 4 students who wrote SEA in 2021 got less than 30%. That is 4,500 students in that last exam out of 18,000 got less than 30% in SEA 2021. In 2021, 9% more students scored less than 50%. So more children continue failing SEA from year to year. 61% of Trinidad and Tobago primary schools have greater than 50% of their students scoring less than 50% in SEA. You could understand that? In CSEC, in 2020, 55% of students who sat CSEC got full certificates. So near 1 out of 2 students failed to get full certificates in CSEC in 2021. And the failures continue to increase. So that's a snippet of the Prime Minister Rowley and his government over 7 years in the education sector. There's much more to say. I have with me the People's Partnership government accomplishments, but time is against that now. So is in conclusion, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you see this logo of the Great United National Congress? 34 years strong, to which I have associated for the past 28 years. It is the one great party with a proven brilliant track record of excellent performance and great achievements during these 2 terms of governance under Basdev Pandey and Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. And she stands ready to take over governance again, and she will bring justice to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It is this UNC, which has fought and continues to fight against the oppression, against victimization, against discrimination, against the autocracy of the PNM in and out of Parliament. And I see the young ones in Parliament. Let me congratulate the young ones, this fight and the steadfastness to the purpose of parliamentary practice. We must continue to stand as a united front. Nobody must break this UNC. So all comers, everybody who say they want UNC, come into the UNC. We will ensure social justice, equality and opportunity for all citizens. It is this UNC that has defeated the PNM 3 times at the polls, 95, 2000 and 2010. And we will give resounding defeat to Rowley's government when the next election is called. So you be proud of our UNC. We invite others to join us. And as a united front, we will ensure victory and restore dignity, integrity, honesty, performance, love and respect for all our people of Trinidad and Tobago. God bless us all. Thank you very much.
As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters, let's all walk together as one. This revolution is about restoring our democracy. And this revolution is about stopping this creeping dictatorship. This is the people's revolution. Come on, people. Freedom. Come on, people. Freedom. Come on, people.
Thank you, Dr. Gopi Singh, for that powerful, excellent contribution. And this is what the UNC is made of. Our next speaker is a dynamic woman. She's an attorney at law. She is Senator Lakshmi Dayal. I welcome Senator Lakshmi Dayal to the podium.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, people. Freedom. Come on, people. Freedom. Come on, people. Freedom. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
The people's revolution.
My brothers and sisters of the rising sun, it is my pleasure to stand here tonight, especially after that heartwarming, powerful speech by Dr. Gopi Singh. Let us give him another round of applause. I feel inspired after listening to his words, and I am so proud to stand here tonight as a member of the United National Congress. I greet you at this auspicious time in our country's calendar. In this tiny little country of Trinidad and Tobago, the world sees diversity and togetherness at its best as our Muslim community continues to observe the holy month of Ramadan. Our Hindu community celebrated Ram Navami last night. Then they have Hanuman Jayanti coming up. And the Christian community is, of course, observing Lent, and Holy Week has begun. And our most sacred and revered observance of Easter is upon us. But brothers and sisters, just as we are observing these holy times and spending time together getting closer to God, there are those busy at work trying to turn Trinidad and Tobago into hell's backyard. While the people of our nation are honoring the power of God, the power of the Likoto Jombi, threatening to strangle this nation with controversy, declining prosperity, death to our citizens, and most of all, death to our democracy. While our nation strives to get closer to the light of the sun and all its glory, the Prime Minister draws us closer into the cluster of Balize, surrounded by snakes, set to deceive this nation with propaganda, like the snake sent to deceive Eve in the Garden of Eden. And just as Jesus was betrayed with a kiss by one of his own, so too our nation is being betrayed by the People's National Movement. Let us start with the man who is fostering enrichment for himself and his family. Despite all the questions being raised regarding his rags to riches story, the Minister of Youth and National Service, Foster Cummings, is yet to speak the truth to this country regarding the occupation of lands in Exchange, Couva. The allegation that this company, affiliated with his family, has been illegally occupying Caroni agricultural lands begs the question. What is Foster Cummings fostering? Is he fostering land grabbing? Is he teaching the youth of this country and fostering a sense of, illegal occupation of state lands as their entitlement? Is he fostering corruption and nepotism? Is he trying to foster divisiveness through a new national anthem? Imagine the member of parliament, a minister of government, the general secretary of the PNM, the man who is in charge of youth and national service of this country will misquote the national anthem, get the words wrong, and trying to use it to justify the wrongdoing that he has been fostering. He wants to say that, like everybody else that may be illegally occupying land, he's entitled to do so as well. Is that the reasoning and excuse coming from a minister of this PNM government? The only thing he's supposed to be fostering is the documentary evidence to prove that he and his family have permission or a license of some sort to occupy those lands. And he has not produced that to this day. Minister Cummings, where is your proof? My brothers and sisters, I have been reliably informed today that the Commissioner of State Lands has launched an investigation into the occupation of those lands as exchanged in Couva, because they are yet to find proof of any permission, any documentation that says that Pical or any other company or any other person has authority or a license or permission to occupy those lands, which are the rightful entitlement of former Caroni workers as part of their visa package. Minister Cummings wants to quote the names of other companies and create a distraction, but the fact is that short-term licenses were granted to certain businesses who were paying rent and maintaining the lands through an arrangement with the state, because all of the Caroni lands could not be developed all at once, and that was a short-term measure to mitigate against destruction or other illegal occupation like what he is perhaps engaged in with his family, and the increasing costs. But that is not to say that anybody can just move in on the lands and occupy it, because what did he say? Every creed and race can find an equal place? Well, apparently he thinks every creed and race can go land grabbing. Now, while we're remembering Palm Sunday that was celebrated yesterday and how the Lord rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, Minister Cummings and his family's companies like Pical, another one by the name of Rivulet Investments and so on, they are not riding any donkeys. In fact, I got a list here. A list of vehicles, 47 vehicles in total that are linked to Pical, Minister Cummings himself, 10 of them, Rivulet Investments, another company of interest, Clydon Investments, and one called Trini Curve, 47 in total. I want to, yes, and it's Range Rover, all kind of heavy equipment, trucks. If you see, a whole long, nice list. Come from not a rag. This is the rags. This is the Cinderella. He's the Cinderella of the PNM. Rags to riches story. I want to ask him if it is true that Pical Investments own over 25 vehicles. I want to know if over 10 vehicles are in his name. And Rivulet Investments, a company which was caught up in a little bit of a difficulty because some of their vehicles were being used in illegal quarrying activities and were seized by the state. They leased vehicles, heavy equipment, to a company that was doing illegal quarrying activities and that had to be seized by the police. Is that company as well, Rivulet Investment, linked to your company? Because I understand that Rivulet Investment has a director by the name of Juliet Modest, who is the wife of Minister Cummings. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't end there. I want to also put the population on alert, because we have also received some intelligence that this company, Rivulet Investments, are bidding in relation to a contract with a certain state agency for the development of lands at Woodford Lodge. in Chaguanas. And Rivulet Investment Group, it is alleged, and this is the information I have. Anybody is free to refute it, but I'm asking the question. They came in, asking for a friend. They came in below the engineer's estimates for this job, a couple $1 million below. And persons at this particular state agency are being told that they must give the contract to Rivulet Investments, and then they will do a variation so that they are able to earn more money under this contract. I am asking tonight, and I am telling the population, I'm putting you on notice to keep your eye on, is it parcel, it's called parcel 1A, I believe, at Rivulet Investment, at Woodford Lodge in Chaguanas. So these are the things that are happening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as again, in the Easter spirit, we know that when Jesus was crucified, that in his compassion and holiness, he prayed for them and he said, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. But in this case, that is not the case with the PNM. They know all too well what Foster Cummings is doing, and the Prime Minister who promoted him to a cabinet position is endorsing this type of behavior. He is endorsing criminality. He is endorsing nepotism. He is endorsing corruption within his own cabinet. You know, I used to make a joke long ago amongst my male colleagues in the legal profession about how, you know, they didn't have to run home at a certain time to take care of children. They had a wife to do that thing. And I used to say, well, I wish I had a wife sometimes to do those things for me, you know, cook food and things like that. But if I had to have a wife, I want a PNM wife. Because there's every PNM wife making so much money with all these companies and contracts. So I want to tell some of all the single guys, if you're looking for a wife, look for a PNM wife, you know, because PNM wife doing really, really well in this country right now. Now let's move on as we go there. Because just like, again, the Roman dictators who were occupying the Holy Land and give rise to our Easter story, Keith Rowley acting like Pontius Pilate. He washed his hands of everything to do with Foster Cummings, and he has no comment to make. And like a dictator, he has formed a government of Macuin Tanties. They are not just a government of Judases. They are proper corner house Macuin Tanties spying on the citizens of this country. It is regrettable to say that the only thing Rowley copied from the Manning administration was spying on citizens. In 2010, there was a national concern about Patrick Manning and them who had been spying on judges, magistrates, politicians, business persons, media people, practitioners, and so on. And after demitting office, and after getting illegally caught at spying, I will tell you what Patrick Manning said. He said the way the PNM has operated in government is that we start a program, and if the program works well, we give it a legislative complexion. Meaning you're doing something illegal all the time, and then when you get catch with it, you try to make a law to justify what you have been doing. You see, they are long-time Macos. And Faris Alwari, the demoted, my man who got demoted from AG to LG, says that you have no right to privacy. But you see, my brothers and sisters, it goes to show you the difference between a PNM and a UNC government, because under the government of Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, we try to bring law and order to the process of interceptions. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar passed the law to regulate interceptions and implement appropriate checks and balances to protect innocent citizens from the power of high-handed government officials. It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, "Let no man live uncurbed by law or curbed by tyranny." There must be legal mechanisms in place to regulate any encroachment upon your fundamental rights and freedoms, and that is what the UNC stands for. So this report of junior officers closely linked to government ministers using Israeli spy software to intercept your messages, who knows, even your photographs and other data. It is wrong. There are 3 persons authorized by law to intercept private communications, and that is the Chief of Defense Staff, the Commissioner of Police, and the Director of the SSA. The law was amended by the PNM to allow them to go into your stored communications. So whether the communication is stored by a telecom provider pre-2010 when no law existed, they want to be able to go back into that. And how do they justify this? It's about the prison. They need to intercept things about criminals and so on. I want to tell the Prime Minister to instruct his Minister of National Security to lay these reports of the Strategic Services Agency for the last 4 years in the Parliament so that the people of this country can see if we are getting value for money. the SSA that is supposed to use these interceptions and analyze them and work with them and determine and try to stop criminal activity, what are the results? Billions of dollars have been spent. We want to see the results. And the Minister of National Security, who I have to give a compliment to, he's a very consistent man. He's the most consistent man in government. He's a consistent failure. Anywhere they put a man, he's failed. Anywhere they move here about 4 times and he fail. So let us applaud him for his consistency. He cannot address, and we used to call that jupe long time. This man jupe down on himself when he talking, at a function. Imagine if he was walking. He ain't walking, but he's sleeping away. Right? They cannot address crime in a sensible manner. Right? They're doing nothing to alleviate poverty and suffering amongst low-income households. They wash their hands again like Pontius Pilate of the nation's children, ignoring the need for education-based solutions for our problems. We are not spending money to ensure that we are effectively detecting crime. Over half the CCTV cameras, you heard it in the parliament, live and direct, not working. Last year, Stuart Young said, we're obsessed with CCTV. Well, you'll hear from the man who obsessed with CCTV just now. They say Dr. Munilan obsessed with CCTV cameras, and a TSCT is working vociferously to get them fixed. More not working now than last year, but TSCT working to fix them. That too, the CCTV cameras was the subject of controversy, my friends. Imagine the maintenance of our camera system, everything, the whole contract split into 2. They say they're getting better value for money. So 1 person to provide and 1 person to service hardware and software. $12.5 million given in 2020 to a company called Johnson Controls to provide cameras. Where is the value for money when half the cameras are not working? Earlier this year, we asked questions again on your behalf in the parliament. 16,000 samples awaiting testing at the Forensic Sciences Center. There was a couple that tragically perished in St. Julian Village. The village, my grandfather's hometown, so it hurt me when I read that story. They had to beg for assistance from the minister a whole month after their loved ones perished so that they could get their remains and bury them because there was no solution to do DNA testing at the Forensic Sciences Center. Imagine that. But they want to fight crime. DNA is the way to fight crime. That is how you use your resources to fight crime. They will spend billions of dollars in macro-in technology to monitor the prisons, but they cannot buy 2 sheets of galvanized to fix the roof in order to prevent prisoners from moving it and walking out in the middle of the night trips and down the road. Millions of dollars in legal fees to go to the Privy Council to fight to keep a law in place that they must be able to restrict bail and not leave it to the discretion of the judge and the magistrates. But they cannot buy electronic monitoring bracelets so that they could monitor people who are out on bail or people who are the subject of domestic violence orders to make sure they are staying away from people they are not supposed to come around. Their strategy is to deny bail to people who have the presumption of innocence, but they will literally let the prison crumble so that people who are actually convicted could escape and walk away. They are like hamsters on a wheel. They pretend to look busy, but they're just spinning, and they are going nowhere, and they are taking us nowhere. And all they're doing in all that wheeling and dealing is that some lawyer, some company, some friend, financier, or family member is making money. On that note of spending money, let me end by extending a warm welcome to our shores, to a lady who you're going to hear a lot more about tonight called Super SRP Kate. Keith Rowley boasted the other night that it's not no 35 million TT dollars that they were trying to use out of the TTPS budget to pay foreigners to come here and investigate crime that they say has occurred. He said it's 18 million US dollars that he's allocating. So the next time your child is kidnapped and there's no CCTV camera working, the next time your child cannot log on to class or do their homework because they have no laptop, just think about the 18 million US dollars that Keith Rowley has allocated to hunting political rivals and going on a witch hunt on behalf of, with your money. This is in the face, this money was paid in the face of serious, very serious things. And when I got into the Senate, someone told me, well, now that you're in active politics, there are certain things you need to buy. I said, well, I thought they talking about my wardrobe, I need to update, that kind of thing, look a little nicer, whatever. But apparently they said, no, what you need is a large post box. Because you see, people like to put things in post boxes. And what I have here tonight are 2 very important things, and I think you will hear a lot more about it as we go along. The first one was a document prepared by someone who is described as Team Lead EMBD Investigation. And Team Lead EMBD Investigation wrote this memo on March 17, 2021. And I want to quote something from it where he says, "There is simply insufficient tangible evidence to string the circumstantial points together due in large part to major challenges as outlined in this document. There is little prospect that this will change." The subject of this memo was an update on EMBD criminal investigation and a proposed change of scope. Local police officers have written and put into writing to senior members of the police service, to, I think, senior government ministers may also be privy to this, knowing that they have gotten nowhere since 2016 with these political witch hunts that they are on. Somebody also dropped into my post box a response written by one of these officers who was tasked with doing this. And what he said here is that it stands during the period 2016 to present that TTPS has taken full advantage of the assistance provided by EMM UK. That is a company headed by Miss SRP Kate is a person in that company. In the EMBD investigation leading to a fully informed decision, the strands being pursued at this time are within the investigative capability and do not require further engagement with EMM. You see, EMM wanted more money. EMM are the pipers of the Caribbean. EMM are like those touts that stand up outside the courtroom and looking for a little walk here and a little walk there, and they wanted their contract renewed, and that is where the $35 million came about. EMM are here like mercenaries for hire. So while the UK Prime Minister sits down in the Ukraine talking about he must fight a dictator, one of his citizens are down here in Trinidad and Tobago enabling a dictator. EMM Kate is here tonight sitting down in the Hyatt on your taxpayers' dollars that cannot fix CCTV cameras. Right? SRP Kate sitting down right now, and I hope you're listening, because let me tell you something. We will not stand by and allow this to happen. Our local police officers know that there is no evidence, and since 2016 you have been collecting money on the back of the taxpayers of this country, trying to enable a witch hunt against the UNC. And I know I am out of time, but there's one last thing, and I will crave the indulgence of the birthday boy, Mr. Archie, to put it up on the screen for you to see here tonight. And I want to ask, with all these things, I tell you that big post box will pay off. I want to ask Kate, EMM, SRP Kate, in the course of your investigation, did police officers bring these checks to your attention? When you send them to investigate certain contractors, did they also find checks 21st of the 4th, 2010 for $300,000 payable to the PNM? 5th of the 5th, 2010, PNM, $300,000. 29th of the 4th, 2010, People's National Movement, $75,000. 22nd of the 4th, remember we had an election in May 2010, huh? 22nd of April 2010, $400,000 payable to the People's National Movement. And 22nd of April, that day was on a collection drive that day, boy. 22nd of April 2010, like a man passed around and pick up check that day. Another $100,000 payable to the People's National Movement. I have blacked out the names of the people whose names appear on these checks, but I have more checks as well. And I want to ask tonight whether it is true or not that being faced with this information that they were told, and officers here were told, that the inquiry is only dealing with 2015 and not 2010. And they are ignoring this information, because it can't be that what good for the goose, good for the gander. My brothers and sisters, it is obvious that while the PNM and the Prime Minister are ready to betray the people of this nation with a kiss, they are also willing to go to great lengths to collect the 30 pieces of silver. And while we continue to observe our respective religious celebrations, those who betray us are plundering our treasury at the expense of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But let me tell Prime Mako Rowley something here tonight. He will never succeed, because I believe that true prayer, as we are doing this week in our nation, as I said, every religious group is doing so, and unity, we will deliver this country out of the suffering that we have faced under the last 6 years of the PNM. The sun will rise again on Trinidad and Tobago, my brothers and sisters. under the leadership of Kamala Prasad Bissessa, and the United National Congress will bring peace, bread, and justice back to Trinidad and Tobago. Stay strong and stand together, brothers and sisters. I thank you.
The voice of the people is the voice of God. The tables are turning, your eyes are opening. Welcome to the revolution.
People crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom.
Thank you, Senator Lashmi Dial, for such an excellent presentation. Our next speaker needs no introduction. A chairman for sports and the development of youth in Trinidad and Tobago, a host of the hit talk show, douglAR Politics. Please help me welcome to the platform Senator Anil Roberts.
The voice of the people is the voice of God. The tables are turning, your eyes are opening. Welcome to the revolution.
People crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom. Everybody cries.
Pegasus. Hello, Pegasus. Tell Rowley the douglAR starting now. Or let's start a record, print out, tell the Oreo ornament, and it's starting right now. They could print it out, they could take picture, they could take movie, they could turn on the camera. Pegasus, come through, Pegasus. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I bring you the facts. F-A-C-T-S. Not the facts, Rowley, and all our children listening. I come to speak the truth, not the truth. Here every creed and race finds an equal place, not like Foster version. We believe in discipline, tolerance, and production. Our nation's watchwords, not I wept when I reached the promenade like convent girl. Tonight, I'm taking it more easier on the PNM like Penny Beckle say. I'm trying to make the nation a little more better than the PNM. And I will not drink from Pine de Bal like Keith Scotland who don't cross the lighthouse. Our beloved country has fallen apart. Yet PNM apologists attempt to convince you that what you see, what you feel, what you know is but a mirage, utilizing all manner of spurious, illogical, irrational, untruthful, emotional, nonsensical arguments to convince you that you must accept the PNM's new society, where the people, the masses, you work, you sacrifice, you suffer, you pay, for Rowley and his PNM to sing and dance, celebrate and rejoice as they redirect all the nation's resources from you to them, their friends, their family, and their financiers. And you vote and you wring your neck, but you have no money to pay a chiropractor when you're back out in. I read with ironic pain a former army man, a man who in 1970 broke ranks in the army to fight for black and brown people to work in Trinidad and Tobago against the PNM and Dr. Eric Williams. Rafiq Shah, a man who nearly tried to overthrow the government to fight for the rights of citizens. Yet he writes in a column just yesterday that all of us are unpatriotic, you and I, for complaining about the insensitivity, the terrible nature of this country, the lack of investment, the pain that each and every citizen is feeling. Rafiq Shah, how far thou hast fallen. I ask you why, Shah, why? Helen Drayton, a lady who says she was an independent senator, and I read 23 of her contributions between 2010 and 2015, and all of them attacked Kamala Prasad Bissessa in the most vile way. And when the Emailgate liar became prime minister, Helen Drayton, independent Helen Drayton, jumped out on PNM, CNM, she board. Then they bust she throat, she say nothing. They put her on NIB, PNM board. They bust she throat, she say nothing. But she come to attack
Vice President Barrett Jagdeo of Guyana, when he just talked the truth. And she attacked him in the most vile manner to say that he is like a never see come see who just get money. Really, Helen Drayton? And what are you? And then she goes on to say that we are not a failed state. She didn't talk about foreign direct investment, 200,000 jobs lost, 123,000 workers off the NIB rolls, the foreign exchange crunch that forcing business people to pay $8.50 on the black market, the food price inflation, the potholes, the geographical discrimination, the collapse of the energy sector, the collapse of education, criminality running amok in the daylight, nighttime, in every nook and cranny of Trinidad and Tobago. She had talked about that. She said we are not a failed state. But you know what we have? We have plenty ugly billboard. That is PNM education. That is how dotish you have to be to support Keith Rowley. Helen Drayton, shame on you. Then there was this one. The head of the Shagwanas chamber, Richie Sukai. Well, me, I know who he was. But he started to talk a kumbaya. When Barrett Jagdeo gives some stated facts, gives information, cogent, unemotive numbers, saying that Trinidad and Tobago, we failed to diversify. Under the PNM, every time the UNC took us along the continuum of diversification, in come PNM, and back we go to ground zero. Backward ever under the PNM. No matter what Bastio Pandey do at $8 a barrel of oil, backward to the Manning. No matter what Kamala do carrying we towards millennium goals and into developed country status, in comes a lying Oreo double stuffed clown, backward with the PNM. That's all Barrett Jagdeo said. But this Richie Sukai, he could not debunk the facts. So he comes and says, well, we need to be kumbaya. We need to hug up and love up. But when Rowley attacked CARICOM, when Rowley attacked Guyana with vaccination, when Rowley attacked Barbados, when Smallpin described Bajans as wanting to use here as a jump-up point to break beach, when Rowley danced the conga line, Richie Sukai and the Chaguanas chamber didn't say anything. Next day I see him in a picture with Rohan, the only honest Indian Sinanan. He get a contract from the PNM. Our country is being bought out, bought and sold. All the business people, the intellectuals are selling their testicles to the PNM for a contract. And that is turning our country into a backward, failed state. Because we do not have what it takes to fight for what is right. And as I say, no testicles, look at the next name, Botiwari. Botiwari. Botiwari write an article to say that Kamala Prasad Bisesa believes in nothing and she had no plan. But Bo, when you was here, you was the minister of planning. So if we have no plan, it's your fault. Yeah? And Bo, you have joined the PNM manifesto, the PNM manual of pure lies and deceit, Bo. Kamala had no plan. Kamala had more plan than anything. Kamala had manifesto 12 months before election. You, Bo, allowed PNM to come in 9 days before an election, throw through a document and say that count as a plan. Kamala had plan for diversification, the agricultural sector, education, for empowerment, women, culture, sport, roads, Tobago, tourism, sport tourism, culture, a new agro-processing, all across the board. Boy, you lie, boy. That's why it only had 12 people in your Zoom meeting and I sent 10. Just to mako you, they call me the Pegasus. And then we come from one to the next. Vasant Bharat. Well, Vasant, I want to thank you. This might be the last time I mention your name because you're gone, and I say go in peace in this holy week, in this month of Ramadan, in this Navratri, in this holy week as a Christian and a Catholic. I say go in peace, Vasant, go. But you know, Vasant, as you're gone, like you start to talk the truth, but you will realize that the truth, big up Kamala. Vasant come now. When Foster and Clarence and Lanting hit the fan, hey Vasant. Well, when I was the minister, I gave out 4,000 lots and I gave everybody and I handed out documentation, and if I had remained there, all would have been done. Yes, Vasan, because Kamala was the boss. Kamala was the prime minister. So what you say, Vasan, is that Kamala real good. Kamala was handling all them things, and if the country had leave Kamala, everybody would have get a thing. So I suggest today, you withdraw the thing from court, because I beg Kamala to put me as the first witness to deal with you. Ah, my goodness. I'm going to coin some new phrases for you here. Today, Tim brought the fire, Munilal to come, Wade Mark to come, and Rowley. Wade Mark don't need no auto-tune to sing. Yeah? What sort of human being would sing and listen to himself sing out of tune next to the note, and then when people use a computer to mama guy, you come and praise yourself as if you sing that? Is the computer your dance? I suppose you want them to change the color of your suit and say you look good too. I'm going to create some new terminology. And if this terminology has been used somewhere before, I give credit to whoever it was who used it. But I have read long and hard and I have never seen these terms. And if they have never been used before, I want each and every one of you to recognize today, tonight, is the douglAR said first, right? We are going to discuss macro political indicators. What does that mean? Macro political indicators are the major issues that impact the masses of a country. Crime, education, sport, culture, job creation, diversification, health and safety. Those are macro political indicators. And when they are up because the people who are in charge have micro political indicators. So, when Kamla Prasad Bisesa is in charge, you see, education was at the highest level in the history of this country. Why? That's a macro political indicator because of Kamala's micro political indicator, her love for children, her understanding that education is the key out of poverty and the way to bring equity into the society. That's why education under Kamala was way up as a diamond, and now we are in the recesses underwater in a dark pipe, breathing in, sucking in oil and fumes in the education system. The macro political indicators are negative right now, and they are the result of electing leaders with negative micro political indicators. The micro political indicators, which include clear overall traits and characteristics, create trends, patterns of decision and policy making that allow for a degree of predictability in terms of political and socio-economic outcomes. Kamala and the UNC predicted the following macro political outcomes because of the PNM's and Rowley's negative micro political indicators. Kamala predicted complete COVID collapse, chaos, and capitulation because Convent girl is a dunce. He knew nothing. He could not pass an exam to become a doctor. He could not be a pharmacologist. He's a druggist, and he's cry every time a breeze blow by him. That would show you that what that was coming. Economic devastation. The Dwen is only shorter in intelligence than height. The Dwen knows nothing about economics or finance. The Dwen is an engineer and a contractor, and everything he build blow down. So your economy blow down because the Dwen is a dance. Crime surge, Small Pin and Ethelbert. Ethelbert now saying that I am not so bad while I am sleeping because I am better than Small Pin. So the comparison of the PNM is who worse. But that's why anywhere in Trinidad and Tobago, everybody feels unsafe. Corruption, contamination, that comes from Keith Christopher Rowley. I can say to you that Patrick Mervyn Augustus Manning was not corrupt, that he did not want to covet money and to control all the funds in a web of corruption. I can say that about Patrick Manning. Keith Christopher Rowley, let me move on, yes? Education calamity, infrastructural decay, desecration of the legislative process by an attorney who took an extra year and a half to pass exams that young people has passed quick. Water wars because the minister of man studying who driving in a van and he watching so rather than how much leak flooding out the place. The energy sector blackout, total and complete disrespect of labor. I don't even know the name of the labor minister because labor is being decimated and called dotish. Sport, you have an unwilling minister. Culture, you have a retroactive minister. Kamala's micro-political indicators are, she's a wife of 50 years. All she children on the inside. She don't hold none on the outside. And she's a mother and a grandmother. She's a poor girl from humble beginnings. She's a warrior. She beat the greatest politician in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, mano, Bastio Pande. Nobody gave her nothing. She didn't ask for nothing. It's not charity. Politics is war, and she beat the warrior. If all you want to lead, you have to beat the warrior where you feel it is. Charity. Education made her rise. Sporting background, playing badminton and hockey and netball. Forgiving, not vindictive, because some of them, if I was in charge, I would have busted the throat a long time, but not Kamala. She forgave all of you. Come. She does forgive. Diplomatic, she held a coalition together with some of the worst human beings on God green earth. Where's Robert Myers? PNM put him in Tier City. He's smoking cigarettes. He can't talk. He gets pipped. All the time he in government, he bad talking Kamala. Now, oh good. Where you are, draws in a pay. Let me just say, finally, let me tell Rowley something. Rowley, you could spend 40 million. You could spend 80 million. You could spend 800 million. You will not find one iota of evidence of wrongdoing by Anil O.E. Roberts, because Anil O.E. Roberts did not break the law. He did not interfere, influence, intervene, nor misbehave in public office, as you did, Rowley, in the Police Service Commission fiasco. He never moved gravel from by a hospital. He never made mistake in his integrity forms. He did not recuse himself because he's a sheep farmer. He did not sign no corrupt HDC contract. Anil Roberts did not approve no Bridgman's crooked money that reached 200 million. No bid rigging and no ferry by Anil. No conga line with Maduro. No Renaissance. No Las Alturas. No Greenvale. No email gate. No fake oil. No Cleaver Heights. So come, Rowley. Look me right there, boy. You're So Rowley, do the country a favor. You want to save money? You want to save out money? Tell Ethelbert, open Golden Grove. You walk in and close the gate behind you so we don't waste no money coming to find you for all them charges that are coming for you. So that's the way we will save money. We must save the country in this spiritual time. Pray for the darkness of Lekoto to be gone and to the rising sun to rise to save this country. Kamala Prasad Bisasa, the UNC, stronger, fighting together. Good night.
For democracy. Now it's time to take a stand. Yeah.
Come on! As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters, let's all walk together as one. This revolution is about restoring our democracy. And this revolution is about stopping this creeping dictatorship. This is the people's revolution.
Come on, people.
Thank you, Senator Roberts, for that powerful contribution. I want to ask that Senator Roberts be given a round of applause. And I also ask that he be given 5 minutes again to come back and I just want to acknowledge councillors, aldermen of the Sanigani Regional Corporation, councillor and other councillors, Councillor Amit Suknanan and Alderman Gibbs. Our next speaker is a UNC stalwart. He is a firebrand in the parliament and on the platform. And in a few minutes, you would see why. Please welcome the Member of Parliament for Oropuch East, Dr. the Honorable Rudal Munilal.
Come on, people! Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, people!
Dictatorship. This is the people's revolution.
Come on, people! Come on, people!
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Political leader and opposition leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, members of the National Executive, parliamentary colleagues, activists, in your few numbers here, given our protocols in place. I must begin by saying to the political leader that when you put together a platform like this tonight, even the lion could feel intimidated. It is such a hard act to follow. Senator Lyda, Senator Anil Roberts, Senator Lakshmi Dayal, and I think it's Wade Mark to come after, and we heard, of course, the legend, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh. So, I would try as modest and humbly as I can, but it's an important evening for us to address you in Trinidad and Tobago, and our supporters, well-wishers, family members of the UNC across the United States, Canada, Europe, listening to us in the Caribbean as well. There's great interest in the policies, programs, and perspectives of Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC. Today, brothers and sisters, we meet during a glorious period for humanity, but a dark day for Trinidad and Tobago. At the same time, during this period, our Hindu brothers and sisters celebrated Navratam. Our Muslim brothers and sisters observe the holy month of Ramadan, and our Christian brothers and sisters undertake the sacrifice and prayer during Lent and the Holy Week. How blessed we are to have all in Trinidad and Tobago as a rainbow family. But how cursed we are to have the PNM. Today we continue to witness the destruction of our once proud nation. This country was described as the jewel of the Americas during the reign of the UNC. We have gone from the jewel of the Americas to everything falling apart. And I beg to differ with our CARICOM colleague, Dr. Jagdeo. I think everything fall apart already. It is not falling apart, it fall apart already. Rowley has turned our once Caribbean economic powerhouse into a parlor with empty shelves. With the latest brutal increase in fuel cost, we now have to find a bicycle to go to our work if we have a work to go to. Today, if you can tell me one thing they have built, I can tell you one thing that they have not destroyed. The hypocrisy and incompetence of Rowley is so blatant, brothers and sisters. Rowley last week went to the platform and spoke about moving Lake Asphalt to the Ministry of Works and the scarcity of bitumen. This man is deceptive, is a hypocrite. This is hypocrisy at its height. Keith Rowley shut down the Pointe-à-Pierre refinery that made bitumen as a byproduct of the refining process. Today he's speaking about bitumen. He said, scarce, we can't buy. We can't buy because you shut down the blasted refinery. That is why. Today we cannot fix a pothole. They cannot pave a road because we have no bitumen. We import at escalating daily costs bitumen from Jamaica, from Suriname, would you believe also from Eastern Europe, while we had Petrotrin refinery. Lake Asphalt must find US dollars to import bitumen. What a shame. Lake Asphalt bust now. When we left in 2015, we left Lake Asphalt with $279 million in cash. It is in the audited statements. Today they cannot pay wages. What a shame. Bitumen is now unavailable and expensive. This is why Port of Spain now full of pothole and bad road in Port of Spain. Brothers and sisters, we have the worst capital in the Caribbean. And the roads across the country are in a worse state. A fire brigade or ambulance cannot pass to save lives. In Penal Debe, or Pinia Dubal, as Keith Scotland is fond to say, the roads are unimaginable. Bridges have collapsed. Drains and rivers overrun with slush, garbage. And what about the refinery? 4 years now they're negotiating to sell it, to lease it. 4 years now. What about patriotic energies and technologies of the OWTU? They get the refinery yet? They're negotiating 4 years now. Today, the once proud national asset of Eric Williams, Basdev Pandey, Patrick Manning, Kamla Prasad Bisasa, that proud asset, the refinery, is now all iron under Rowley, waiting for a scrap dealer to dismantle and cart it away. Brothers and sisters, if you try to plug back on that refinery, you will blow up half of Trinidad. It is scrap iron today. Rowley arrogance knows no bounds. You know, recently in the parliament, he advised the MP for Naparima. He said, if you like Guyana, go to Guyana. You know what happened there? The whole of the Caribbean gone Guyana. The CPL finals for the next 3 years is in Guyana. And they left us with a $1.2 billion Brian Lara Stadium, the most expensive cricket stadium in the Western Hemisphere. They left us so we could throw a party in the car park, while cricket is in Guyana. I want to assure cricket lovers that as soon as Rowley leave, CPL will return to Trinidad and Tobago. As a result of Rowley's malice and incompetence, the entire construction sector is migrating to Guyana. Today, brothers and sisters, if you have a truck, a tractor, a backhoe, a whacker, a shovel, a spade, you want to take it to Guyana to see if you could get work. Everything migrating. Only the PNM friends and family can foster any contracts for themselves. And this man has the gall, he stand on the platform and say, he's prime minister, and you're stupid if you take apartments. They have a clip with him, I think we can show it.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the facts, F-A-X. You had to be a kind of jackass to be prime minister and purchasing an apartment.
Now, which prime minister was fingered with apartments in Tobago is accused of having some kind of apartment in Miami as well? It is the same Jack. It is the same one he's describing. He's describing himself in that video in Renaissance. This man in public service for 30 years, and he about 7 to 10 property, you know. That is a fact. 1 year. He worked 1 year in the private sector and they throw him out from that too. Brothers and sisters, he's undermining the police service today, and I want to get to that quickly. One of the most glaring and obscene signs of a dictatorship is the undermining, manipulation, and control of the police and law enforcement. They have overthrown the Constitution and undermined the rule of law. They have swiftly made the TTPS their plaything. The Constitution provides that the Director of Public Prosecution is responsible for prosecution in Trinidad and Tobago. The DPP advises the police on prosecution. That's why police officers seek guidance and advice from the DPP on criminal matters. It is enshrined in the Constitution, the role of the DPP. Today, they have subcontracted the office of the DPP. They have privatized the DPP office by hiring a British firm. And always remember, England has no written constitution, unlike Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago government, Rowley, hired some years ago a British company named Edmonds, Marshall, and McMahon, EMM, to direct and advise the TTPS on going after political opponents of the PNM and Keith Rowley. They have been paid a staggering $40 million so far using scarce foreign exchange. A businessman cannot get $200 US in the bank, but $40 million they have been paid. You will see on your screen, they arrived yesterday at Piarco International. Somebody was there to greet them with a camera. Look, she there, look, look, look. SRP Kate McMahon. I think she's a superintendent SRP. They arrived yesterday, whisk away with police siren and blue lights, police cars and vans and so on. When you have a crime in your neighborhood, you can't find a police car. Look them in the airport now, picking them up, taking them to where we believe is Hyatt, and the TTPS is paying the bill there too. Estimated at a weekly cost of about $50,000 for these people to stay there at your expense. Look at them in Piaco, arriving yesterday. They think only them is investigator, you know. But I have more to say coming to that now. They have been paid $40 million. That team, led by Kate McMahon, they are trying to interview her there, and she said, no comment, no comment. The superintendent SRP, her website says that she works for high-end word clients. Now that means Rowley's a high-end client. The PNM is a high-end client. That is them at Piaco yesterday, brothers and sisters. But they are trying to do the work of the DPP. While the DPP complains that he has no resources to deal with bail applications, every parliamentary joint select committee, the DPP comes all the time. And poor fella, he comes and say, look, we don't have human resources. We don't have material resources. We don't have place enough for people. He complains for years for the PNM that he has no resources, but they have $40 million to give this team on a political witch hunt. Senator Lakshmi Dayal told you before. The local police have recommended that they discontinue this team, discontinue their work because they have done enough and they have reached nowhere in investigating, hounding down, harassing former members of the UNC government and the partnership government. But they continue. Brothers and sisters, the former commissioner of police, Gary Griffith, alerted us that the government surreptitiously passed money to the TTPS with instruction that the $40 million was not to be used to fix police car. That was not to be used to buy bulb for police station. That was not to be used to pay outstanding monies to police constable, corporal, and sergeant, and so on. That money was not to be used to fix CCTV cameras. That money was not to be used to buy paper and pen and small notebook for police officers. It was to be used to pay Superintendent SRP Kate McMahon and her team to engage in hounding down on a witch hunt, which the TTPS said was not necessary. Brothers and sisters, the former commissioner of police makes a most important point. It may have passed you, but this is the critical point. He said that they were hounding, harassing, and sorting to direct the TTPS, the former cop, to appoint this lady and her team as special reserve police officers, SRPs. So when you are SRP, you exercise greater authority than ordinary citizens. You enforce the law as a police officer. They can question suspects, they can search, they can arrest people. The confidential work of the police in Trinidad and Tobago can be sent to England for them to sit down in their garden, have a cup of tea, and scones, you know, and look through confidential papers from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. That's why they make them SRP. So they can stay in England and Mako, Trinidad, because the police had complained about that. Brothers and sisters, this is a diabolical act. Rowley in an article yesterday the Express had an article, SRP Kate returns. Brothers and sisters, not me, I am not the SRP. It's the next lady here. Brothers and sisters, they hounded them down. Yesterday, Rowley made a point, and I want to take him up on that. He says they are happy to spend $18 million US to deal with white-collar crime. That is fine. Brothers and sisters, nothing is wrong with any government using resources to fight white-collar crime. That is critical. And every government has a duty to find resources to deal with white-collar crime. The problem here is not that, Keith Rowley. The problem here is that you as Prime Minister and Stuart Young as Minister and Alwari as then Attorney General, you cannot direct the police on who to appoint as SRP, which lawyer to retain. You cannot select lawyers, choose which case to follow up on. You cannot identify political targets. You cannot determine the cost of lawyers. The police is independent. They must determine who they hire, how much they pay, what are the matters they need help in. You cannot tell the police that, and that is what the former commissioner is complaining about. He said it in an article yesterday. That was one of the problems. They were hounding him down. They were harassing him and directing him to appoint these people as SRP and to pay them with money that came from finance to the TTPS. But they said that money is only to pay them. Huh? They raised the price of fuel. Today, children have to go to school on April 19th and pay more money for transport. What poetic injustice that you raise the price of fuel the same day you open the school. So parents have to pay more money, and $40 million gone already to pay them. Brothers and sisters, this is a dictatorship. The TTPS was told who are the political targets and who they must concentrate on, and I'm coming with that information in a few minutes. Their contract was extended when the TTPS recommended that their contract not be extended. But Rowley and Stuart Young and Alwari didn't want that. They wanted them to go after their political enemies. So they are SRPs who are citizens of another country, who took an oath as SRP to be loyal and faithful to the state of Trinidad and Tobago. So they will be loyal and faithful to Trinidad and Tobago while being a citizen of the United Kingdom or Australia. That is the point here. Brothers and sisters, there is enough case law from the Endell Thomas judgment of 1982 to the Anissa Webster and others versus the Attorney General of 2015 at the Privy Council, which sets out that SRPs must be appointed, disciplined, and removed by independent authorities who are themselves insulated from political control. That is the law. But they're directing the police who to appoint as SRP. The classic case is Endell Thomas, and I will quote from that because that is the position of the law. It says forcefully, and I quote, "The purpose of Chapter 8 of the Constitution, which bears the rubric, the public service, is to insulate members of the civil service, the teaching service, and the police service from political influence exercised directly upon them by any government of the day." That is the law. But they have taken Endell Thomas and turned him on his head, upside down, by directing the police. They are desperate, and they have embarked on a political reign of terror. After that licking they got in Tobago in December, you remember that? They kicked them out of Tobago. They come now to make more trouble in Trinidad because they can't go there. They know that their fate will be worse in Trinidad than in Tobago in 2025 or before. They will go in 2025 or before. They will go. So they are now on a reign of terror. But I want to assure you, brothers and sisters and the national community, that 40 million will be returned to the TTPS to pay outstanding monies to police officers. We will question the EMM and Superintendent SRP Kate McMahon to get back the $40 million to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And we have more information coming to that. And if need be, when we return to office with our colleagues, we will discuss what is the possibility of taking that 40 million from Keith Rowley gratuity and from his pension. If we have to, we'll take it from their pension and their gratuity. I see the other night, this clown that called himself the Prime Minister go on a platform, he want to frighten UNC politician. He like doing that. Huh? He's saying police looking for UNC politicians who, with the opposition leader and so on. How we know that? He dreamed that? He's a seer man? How we know that? I want to tell Rowley tonight. I want to tell Rowley tonight that the police talked to me in Trinidad once. Once in the last 5 to 7 years. When they came to me, they came to interview me in Trinidad and Port of Spain. I said, but what trouble are you in now? Tell me. They wanted me to talk about Keith Rowley conduct. It's to talk about he. And I will tell you something that I told very few people now. And I'll tell you. Earlier this year, I was coming through an airport in the United States. And about 2 burly, big policemen, clearly law enforcement officers, clearly armed, approached me. They say, Dr. Munilal. I say, yes, with some nervousness. They say, we want to talk to you. I said, but I have a flight to catch. They said, but we have to talk to you. I said, all right, no problem. If you have to talk to me, you have to talk to me. I can't do nothing about that. Put me in a corner, I sit down there. I said, but what trouble the lion in now, boy? They told me that they have taken note of developments in Trinidad and Tobago and interviewed me for 2 hours, brothers and sisters, about the conduct of Keith Christopher Rowley. They wanted to know from me more information than I had given before on matters on Keith Rowley. The United States Law Enforcement Authority. You understand what's happening here? This fella is a pest, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, he looks like he's a pest abroad too. So I tell Rowley, the only time police talk to me is to discuss you. That's what they want to talk to me about. When I finish the escort, me to buy gift and thing to carry home. And I want to tell Rowley tonight, you see when blue lights come to me, it's normally in front to escort me. It's not in the back to chase me. And he must be very careful. Because today he have blue lights in front of him. When he demit office, he might have the blue lights in the back of him. You see? All of them. Tim reminds me all. They have mistaken the role of the National Security Council. Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa was chairman of the National Security Council. I was a member of that National Security Council. That is a subcommittee of cabinet. Just as the FNGP, something called Finance and General Purposes Committee, something called Social Policy Committee and so on. Cabinet has several committees. All. Legislative Review Committee and all type of thing. The National Security Council is a subcommittee of cabinet that is there for policy, to approve resources, funds, and so on, brothers and sisters. That is not an operational arm of law enforcement. Rowley, being guided by his golf caddy, believes that he's policeman and is directing the police and saying, I is national security chairman, so I appointing people to investigate firearm license. You cannot do that. Then he's the Barbados policemen, I think it's some pensioners from Barbados come. He make them special reserve police too. He said they're investigating DSS. Rowley is doing that. He said, I am national security chairman. That is a subcommittee of cabinet. That is not law enforcement operational arm. There is no law in this country that provides for a National Security Council. There's no statute that deals with their operation. They don't have a report to put before the parliament, like the police. So brothers and sisters, he has mistakenly, not innocently, he has deliberately and fraudulently adopted a position that he can participate in law enforcement. And that is a crisis we face. That happens in other parts of the world. Every backward country, underdeveloped, poor, that has been overrun by a dictatorship, the president always assumes law enforcement authority. And brothers and sisters, I don't know, when he was small, he probably wanted to be a policeman, Anil. He probably wanted to be a policeman. He probably watched too much police show. Well, I saw him on TV at a function recently. The way he dressed, I thought I was seeing a character from a police show called Starsky and Hutch. It had a fella called Huggy Bear. Well, I remember he was a pimp. Snoop Dogg, I think, played the role. He looked like Huggy Bear. That was how he appeared on television, brothers and sisters. That is how he looked. So, brothers and sisters, Rowley has mistakenly, deliberately adopted a role as law enforcement. Now, I have to go to another matter. I am now going to show you some business, some articles, some excerpts of reports. Now, these are reports sent to me from a whistleblower. Now, do not assume that the whistleblower is in Trinidad and Tobago. A whistleblower could be anywhere in the world. These are reports that came from that British team, EMM, to the police in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, it's very important that we keep our mind focused. This was from a whistleblower who was fed up. He couldn't stomach it anymore. The political witch hunt, the unrelenting persecution of opposition politics, the hounding down. And this is what he sent. As I say, you're not sure where he sent it from. But after 7 years of witch hunting, these reports, what the report is saying is things not bright at all. Things not bright with all the investigations taking place. The first page on your screen, we have deliberately blurred everything because we are not interested in giving you facts, situation, or names or anything. We are not doing that. There is a statement that you will see there on page 1 of a report at point 11. Here's what the English people are telling the police. Here's what, at point 11, they have given options after years of work, options of what the police could do and how they can go forward. But they're saying the options is not good because at point 11, the disadvantage of this case is that this means that no one from government is being prosecuted. You all understand that? No one from the partnership government, that is what they're investigating. The disadvantage of this option, look at on the screen here, that's why I'm reporting, is that no one from the government of the People's Partnership could be prosecuted. That is what they are saying. And they said that's the disadvantage. You go to the next one at number 17. Another option to go forward and continue investigating so they could continue to make more money. Every time they continue is more money. And these are official documents. Another option they gave to continue. Hear what they say at point 17. The disadvantage remains that no government official is likely to be available for prosecution. Meaning that nobody in the cabinet of Kamla Prasad Bisesa can be prosecuted for criminal activity, and they have no evidence. That is what they are saying there. They say, look, we could follow up and thing, but it's really a disadvantage now. We sad. You go to the next one at point 24. Another option they gave to the police in dealing with matters that they are investigating, EMBDC and live sport in particular, because they like me and Anel now. They like me and Anel. I think so. Here what they say at point 24. The disadvantage is the possibility that senior officials and executives will not be prosecuted. Could you imagine an independent legal team with this political lens advising the police that they are only concerned with the politicians? They are $40 million, they're only concerned with UNC partnership politicians and ministers. Other people, I think we are concerned with them. They say that's the disadvantage of the case we're giving you now, is that there will be no government minister of the UNC. That is what they are saying. And the next one is a blockbuster one. I thought I'd show you all this. Imagine they have a report, and at the top, there was another point on that page, yes, I'm seeing it here. At number 29, another factual case scenario. Let's call it narrative theory. They put out a next theory to continue to make money, more than 40 million. They said the advantage of this case, if it continues, is, this may include a person of significant political influence. Now you understand that? They said they want more money because they have nothing yet, no evidence, they can't prosecute, they can't arrest, they can't do nothing. But if we continue with this one, the advantage of this case is it could include a person of significant political influence. That is what they're about. Tonight, I am not tipping off anybody. I am tipping off the DPP of Trinidad and Tobago as to what they are doing. They are on a political witch hunt. And the last page, they have a report, and would you believe the heading of a report? Notes on political developments of investigations. You could imagine that? An independent legal firm from England writing the police in Trinidad and Tobago and say, we have notes on the political developments of investigation. They're concerned with politics. They are not concerned with fighting white-collar crime. And I just want to quote something here because I find it fascinating. A prosecution of the political controlling minds would be preferable. Meaning this politician they're looking for, not white-collar crime criminal and thing, politician. They say they have a meeting scheduled for Thursday, 28 January, about a change of focus in the prosecution to enable a more direct prosecution of Dr. Rudal Monilal. They love me. Another 40 million gone, and me ain't getting none of that. You could rest assured. I find these people should give me some stipend or fee or something for making money on my head, They're going with $40 million. They have nothing yet. So brothers and sisters, this is the shocking and tragic detail of where our democracy is. Brothers and sisters, they target everyone. They're on a wild goose chase, a witch hunt. And in the coming days, I want to warn people, they may want to search everybody who ever got a donation from the partnership government. They might want to search, they might want to find and question anybody, whether it's a sports club, a fashion club, a bazaar, a Ramlila. Ramlila got a donation, they might go to interview Ram and Sita. Now the last time people trouble Sita, they burn them down. So I want to warn them, don't disturb Sita. So brothers and sisters, this is where they are taking this. So today we pledge tonight, I have the authority of speaking to my lawyers who have said that it is our intention to write the DPP in Trinidad and Tobago on the conduct of this foreign British team that is working for the PNM, for the political hounding down of opposition members. Tonight we say to you, time to investigate Kate. It's time to investigate Kate. And their role in this matter. We will write the DPP. We will also write the Law Society of the United Kingdom to complain of the covert political role played by UK lawyers and other professionals in undermining our constitution. And of course, we will copy all letters to SRP Kate at her work address. Her work address, in case you want to know, is 35 Cock Lane, London. And I didn't make up that, that's real. Today, listen, simmer down, I only have a few minutes there, please, please. Today, what are you laughing still so? Today, I want to call out the past High Commissioner Tim Stew and ask if he had any role to play in working with the PNM government post-2015 to recruit EMM or any other firm to hound down and persecute political opponents of Keith Rowley. Tim Stew, he's in Panama now, brothers and sisters. And in closing, let me also indicate that it also, yesterday in the newspaper, I will just quickly, the high-profile interception involving drug connections. 1 week ago, the political leader alerted this country, rightfully, accurately, that they were using new spy equipment to spy on political opponents, social activists, civic leaders, anyone in opposition to the PNM. That, brothers and sisters, came out yesterday when a reporter in the Express writes and quoting from police interception, information from police interception. She's quoting. So who gave the reporter interception data? Who? Was it the police, Clement, the constable you appointed? Was it the ministers? But the information is being used to target political opponents of the PNM. So Kamla Prasad Bisesa was correct, was accurate, was right. She is correct that they are using spy equipment on political opponents. And we must be careful of that. So brothers and sisters, I think my time is up. In closing, we will talk another time on other matters to deal with other pressing matters in the country. But to tell you that this same clown who came to the parliament with Emailgate said to believe him now, trust him now. He came with Emailgate, huh? He said, trust him now. We're not using spy equipment to spy on no political opponents. Could you believe Rowley? Could anybody believe Rowley? But children can't believe him, as Anil say. So brothers and sisters, you know, and closing, I want to tell the political leader, this fella, when he talks about the political leader, I have noticed over the years, I don't know you, I noticed he has some fetish with dress and attire of the opposition leader. He always, and makeup. He always talking about makeup and nightie and duster and so on. So, I want to ask him, now he talk about the dress of the political leader and what she wear to meet people and so on. Always he about nightie and duster and thing and half a slip. Brothers and sisters, I want to ask him if he's the same prime minister. But he envy, you see, one is pretty and one is otherwise. I want to ask him if he's the same man. Are you the same prime minister who on several occasions come down from upstairs to meet the former commissioner of police in a bathrobe? Now I want to tell you something. If I see in a bathrobe, I run. I ain't know about Guy Griffith, but I run. That is the nature of the man. That's the nature of this creature that run in this country, brothers and sisters. So don't take lies, don't take deception and hypocrisy. We must band together, we must mobilize, we must ensure we remain united, and we must fight. Brothers and sisters, the UNC is within striking distance of the government. We have the most seats the UNC ever had in history. We are 2 seats away from the government. And we're not depending on nobody to bring 2 seats. We will win 2 and more. We will win 2 and more. We are within striking distance of the government. Once we hold together, keep the unity and keep the struggle, we will remove Keith Rowley and the PNM from the political face of this earth. So stand tall and God bless you all.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
The people dictatorship. This is the people's revolution.
Come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, come on, come
platform. Senator Wade Marks takes no prisoners approach to debating is legendary. We are privileged to have him here tonight. Please put your hands together for Senator Wade Marks.
The voice of the people is the voice of God. The tables are turning, your eyes are opening. Welcome to the revolution.
People crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom.
Political leader of our great and glorious party, who is here tonight, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisasa. All my colleagues who have preceded me, esteemed colleagues and friends, brothers and sisters all, I want to be rapid this evening. 4 days before we approach Good Friday, in observance of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ on the cross at Calvary, we, the citizens of this Twin Island Republic, are experiencing our own bout of physical, financial, and mental crucifixion as the new king, the new emperor, the new monarch, Rowley, choose this holy period to deliver hammer blows to the empty stomachs, on the empty stomachs of an already battered and bruised population. My brothers and sisters, through the unilateral and undemocratic imposition of explosive and draconian measures on both fuel and food products, not only will there be a dramatic and exponential rise in fuel prices, but concomitantly there will be a surge in the overall cost of living and a catastrophic decline in the people's standard of living and quality of life. In light of these harsh and oppressive measures inflicted on the people of our country, the new Pharaoh, and all of those out there, brothers and sisters, who are looking on to this meeting this evening, I want to let you know that if you own a Nissan Tida vehicle, aka Wetman, be prepared from next Tuesday, April 19, 2022, to pay at least $310 to fill that tank. It is 52 liters. I want to remind you, brothers and sisters, when Sister Kamla Prasad Bisasa was in office, you paid $140 to fill your 52 liters. Tida, today, as we go on April 19th, you will be called upon by Keith Christopher Rowley to pay, brothers and sisters, $310. Taxi drivers, maxi taxi drivers, let me remind you, a 29-seater maxi taxi Mitsubishi Rosa with a capacity of 100 liters will move from when we were there under Sister Kamla, $150 for 100 liters of diesel to you know where? $391, close to $400. Come, brothers and sisters, come April the 19th, you're going to be paying close to $400. That is 161% increase from September of 2015 to now when you go to April, Tuesday, 2019. Brothers and sisters, this is where we are. You know, the government cannot subsidize you and me. But you know what's happening? The government can find subsidies through $1 million discounts to give to foreigners. Trading with Paria Fuel Trading Company in March of 2020, my brothers and sisters, we have information where Paria bought fuel from an Italian company, gasoline 95 at a higher price, whilst they sold that same premium gasoline to a company led by a chap who is a close associate with the president of Venezuela. So whilst they cannot subsidize us, they are able to subsidize this close friend of President Maduro in Venezuela. My brothers and sisters, in 2020, we imported 2.4 billion liters of fuel products into our country. We consumed and used just about 1.08 billion liters. You know, we re-exported 1.15 billion liters. And we asked the question, to whom did we export these liters of fuel to? In 2021, same 2.4 billion liters we imported, utilized 1.08 billion liters for local domestic consumption, re-exported 1.15 billion liters. To whom and at what price? We don't know, brothers and sisters. So what is happening is that Rowley and the PNM using Paria fuel to import liters and billion liters of fuel products and have those products re-exported, and we don't know to whom. My brothers and sisters, Dr. Munilal reminded us tonight, and I want to remind you tonight, that our democracy in this country is in trouble, is under threat. The Prime Minister poses a clear and present danger to our rights, to our freedoms, to our values, to our culture, to our principles. Brothers and sisters, listen to me. You would have read like me yesterday in the newspaper, one of their own, a fella called Selwyn Kojo. He is an Express columnist. He too is concerned about the state of our democracy and the anti-democratic tendencies of this Prime Minister, Dr. Christopher Rowley. And I want to tell you, because after I speak this evening, very shortly, the Honorable Kamla Prasad, his sister, will be coming after me to address you. So I am not going to take long, but I want to remind you in closing what Dr. Kojo warned us about in yesterday's Express. He said, and this came from an author he was quoting from, I want to quote that statement: democracy is not static, nor entrenched in stone. It must be fought for tooth and nail. I want to repeat this. I want to repeat this, brothers and sisters. Democracy is not static, nor entrenched or cast in stone. It must be fought for tooth and nail. The time has come, brothers and sisters, for us to rise up in defense of our freedom, in defense of our rights, in defense of our democracy, in defense of our country. We have to rally to save our democracy. Dr. Kojo described Keith Christopher Rowley as a modern-day king in our country. He is like an administrative monarchy in our land. And brothers and sisters, he behaved like a king. He says, as Louis XIV said in France, I am the state, and the state is me. So everything must be done in my interest and in my welfare. Brothers and sisters, democracy can disappear if we do not work in defense of that democracy. We must defend our democracy. I want to tell you in closing, as our sister said earlier, the sun is about to rise once again. This rising sun will wither the Balizé, and we will be able to usher in our loving
Time has come. New 97.5. Make it your choice. Something for everyone. 97.5 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
97.5 FM, hot like pepper, multicultural radio.
Power to the listeners.
It was way past midnight, and she still couldn't fall asleep. This night the dream was leaving. And with the new day's dawning, she felt it drifting away. Not only for a cruise, not only for a day. Too long ago, too long apart, she couldn't wait another day for the captain of her heart. As the day came up, she made a stop. She stopped waiting another day for the captain of her heart.
Another classic CD.
Cody.
Okay, okay. Classic CD.
Sound. Give them a little something to make them dance.
Do it like this.
Excuse me, who's the DJ?
के साए चिलमन बनाए आ मैं दीवानी इनको हटा दूं देखूं तेरा चेहरा तेरे प्यार में पागल हूँ मैं सुबह शाम जाना
gotta stop somewhere. I'll leave you something to imagine.
Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Join me, Anthony Jules, on Late Nights with Jules, only on MCTV. New guests every week, activity, games, hot topics, a lot of discussions. You don't want to miss it. Tune in and join me only on MCTV, 9 p.m. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Calling every human. Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3.
Jyoti's Puja Store is your one-stop puja store for all puja, wedding and cremation materials. Also available books, mithai and murtis made to order. Visit Jyoti's Puja Store today and be greeted with the kindest and most courteous staff with best prices and secured parking. Jyoti's Puja Store located at 542 Southern Main Road, Chase Village, Shigwanas.
During a disaster, it may become difficult to contact your loved ones. Communication networks may be overwhelmed or congested due to a high volume of usage. Therefore, it is recommended that you develop a family communication plan to ensure you always stay connected or in the know with your loved ones during a hazardous impact. It is important to designate a meetup point for you and your loved ones in case you are unable to reach them. Ensure all members have a copy of the plan. To download the Family Communication Plan template, visit www.odpm.gov.tt/family communication. It is important to build a household emergency kit that can last you and your family from 3 to 7 days. Each emergency kit should be tailored to your family's needs. You should include a first aid kit, non-perishable food and water, personalized hygiene items, extra clothing and footwear, tools, safety items and equipment, supplies for children, elderly, persons with disabilities and pets. Be sure to include COVID-19 supplies such as extra face masks and hand sanitizers, supplies for your children, pets, elderly or persons with disabilities. This is a production of the NDPPM and the Office of the Prime Minister, Communications.
U97 FM, hot like pepper.
Man to man is so unjust. Children